Hello everybody, welcome back to Wildlife Sydney Zoo's live streams. My name is Keeper Ash and I have a few of our gorgeous little red-collared lorikeets flying all around me at the moment. Now I'm super excited to show you what we have today, and we have really cool live stream set up. And this is all of course about our Rocky. So the last time you guys got to see Rocky, you guys got to see him being fed. But today we're actually going to do something a little bit special. So a lot of you guys are asking during that live stream about how we train our crocodile and why. So today we thought we'd show you. So if you can see, I'm going to turn this around, and Rocky is currently waiting patiently down there. Now you guys won't be able to see him at the moment just because he is so excited. He's almost ready to come up, so he knows it's coming. Now this is actually a really important part about our day being training programs, as training keeps our animals' minds and bodies enriched. Also builds a really strong connection to our gorgeous animals and our keepers. And it also helps us to perform some really amazing husbandry tasks. Now for a saltwater crocodile, this is actually really helpful for how we look after him. You see, Rocky had already shown us that he is a very territorial animal. So we had to get a little bit creative with how we were going to get in his tank so we were nice and safe and clean his water. So you guys might be able to see down there, there are these 3 bumps on that land. Now these 3 bumps are actually hydraulic gates. So we can actually raise those gates up and separate the land from the water. Now we needed to find a way of making sure Rocky could come up onto that land, but being happy and being comfortable at the same time, so we could actually make sure that water was nice and safe. So we endeavored to train our crocodile. Now what we used was this really awesome little technique where we asked Rocky to come up on land with some of his favorite foods. And Rocky has actually learnt that being up on land is really exciting. So you guys will see Keeper Caroline. She'll be standing behind that mock rock door, and she'll actually be holding out a little bit of food for Rocky, and his favorite is barramundi. Now once he does come up, you guys will get to see how Caroline actually does train him and keeps his concentration on her. Now throughout this live stream as well today, guys, make sure you type out some comments and some questions, as I'll do my best to actually start answering a few of those as we go. Now Rocky is really awesome. He is one of my favorite animals at this zoo, and these guys are also some of my other favorites as well. So you guys can probably hear them in the background, and here they are. So these gorgeous red-collared lorikeets. Now up here we do have one of my favorite parts of the zoo as well. This is Rocky's enclosure, and this is a different perspective that we wanted to take you behind the scenes and have a look at what we do as keepers. Now, you have guys look down in his enclosure as well. This is where Rocky lives. You guys remember that deck that we fed Rocky from in the previous video? This is his favorite part of the water. And this is where he will be up on land. Now, Rocky is a really large animal. He's about 4.2 meters in length, and he weighs about 360 kilograms. So it'll be really cool if you guys could actually get him to come up on land, because you can see how he moves and actually what makes him different from alligators. So Keeper Caroline, she's down there, she's ready to go, and you guys will be able to hear her ring a bell and call Rocky up. So see, she goes. See those hydraulic gates coming up as well. So these gates actually rise to about 1.5 meters in height, making sure it's nice and safe for everyone involved. And Caroline's ringing the bell. There he goes. There he is in the water, guys. So he is absolutely amazing. Now Rocky does get super excited for these training sessions, as I mentioned, and sometimes he gets so excited he doesn't want to climb up his ramp. He wants to come straight up onto that edge of water, but he's picking the hard way around today. There he goes. There he goes. So you guys can see how graceful he is moving through that water. And that's actually because of all of those lumps down his back. So those lumps and bumps are what we call scoots. And what they do is stop the water from rippling as he swims underneath. Now he's coming up on land. And you can see Caroline has got that bit of food, it's his favorite. Now you guys might be able to see how small that food actually is. And this is because crocodiles don't actually need that much to eat. So being ectothermic, it means they don't regulate their own body temperature, and nor do they actually need to get their energy from their food. There he goes, guys. There we go. So as I was saying, he doesn't need too much food. In fact, we only feed Rocky about once or twice a week. And he actually gets those little bits of food, and that's enough to sustain him. You see, out in the wild, Rocky can actually go 9 to 12 months without eating. So these guys don't really need too much food at all. So you can see Caroline is waving. Hey! So you guys can see how long he is as well, and how he came up onto that land. Now he does move really slowly up on land, and that's actually one of the biggest differences between alligators and between crocodiles. You see, when alligators walk on land, they extend their legs all the way out, and they can walk up. But for a crocodile, they actually need to have their body close to the ground. So it takes them a lot longer to actually move on that land. You can see he's still munching down on his food. There we go. So I have a few questions here as well. Haley asked how old he is from Lola, who's 6 years old. And he is approximately about 35 years of age. Now we only say approximately, and that's just because we don't actually know how old Rocky is. You see, he was once a wild crocodile. And so we estimated based on his size and based on his weight that he was approximately that age. But he could be slightly older and he could be slightly younger, but definitely around that 35. Now we do have Rocky up on that land area, and as you guys can see, he's really happy, really comfortable, and really enjoying being up on his station. Now Caroline will stay there and watch him and feed him every once in a while. Now when we do clean this tank, we do get a diver into the water. Now you guys might be able to notice we don't have any divers in the water today, but it's still really important that we do these training sessions with Rocky just to reinforce how incredible this actually is. So training, as I was saying, guys, is a massive part of life here at Wildlife Sydney Zoo. It helps us to make sure that we are looking after our animals in the very best way possible. So making sure Rocky's really comfortable up there means we can ensure that we are safe, he's happy, and we can definitely clean this tank. Now for us, how we actually trained this behavior took us a long time. It didn't happen overnight, and we had to make sure that it was tiny little baby steps to do this. So Rocky, as I was saying, he already showed us he was a little bit territorial. So when we started training him, we actually lured him up on land with some of his favorite foods and got him really excited to come up there. Now Rocky quickly learnt that land meant food, and then we started introducing the sound of a bell. So we'd ring the bell when he'd received his food and started eating, then we started to work backwards. So we started ringing the bell just as he'd about a meter away from the food, and then just as he was coming up onto the land, and just as he was on the ramp. And now today, about 9 to 12 months later, we can actually ring the bell from the water, and Rocky knows it is time to come up on that land. So the next stage of his training was making sure that Rocky was comfortable with these gates and the sound of these gates. So this was actually the longest part of his training. So it took about 4 months to train this, and we started really, really slowly. So first, it was the sound of the gates. Then once Rocky was okay with the sound, we started raising the gate like an inch from the ground, then halfway, then all the way up. Then we started with the second gate, and once Rocky was happy with that, we started with the third gate. And as you guys can see, now that all gates are up, Rocky is super comfortable. So the next step of the training was to actually start looking at how long Rocky can stay up there for. And it started off as 1 minute, and then Rocky would go back into the water. And then 10 minutes, and then 15 minutes. And now a year later, Rocky can stay up on that land area for about 2.5 hours, which is definitely long enough for us to get in this water, give it a really good clean, and make sure it's nice for Rocky to get back into. Now, I just saw a really fantastic question. How do crocodiles stay afloat given they are so heavy? This is actually one of my favorite facts. You see, crocodiles have a really incredible internal system, and they can actually move some of their organs around to help them float upwards, to help them float downwards. So if those organs go up, the crocodile will go up, and if organs float down, the crocodile will go down. So they're absolutely incredible. So another question we just had from Jody: why does he need a bell to know when to eat? That's a really fantastic question. You see, when we started training this behavior, we had to make sure Rocky knew that the bell meant he was going to get his favorite reward for coming up on land. Now, we don't ring that bell every time we do feed him. We do feed him from that deck up there where we drop his food down to him using a really long pole. But when we do this training, he needs to know that that bell is his signal that he's going to get food for coming up on land. So that's why we ring that bell. Now you guys can see Caroline's going to feed him. Oh, he's so excited. Rocky loves his training. So we do feed him during these training sessions every few minutes, just to reinforce that if he's just sitting up on that land area and he's just being happy and being calm, he's going to get a reward for that. So we have another question. When he loses his adult teeth, will he have gaps like me? That's a fantastic question. Now, when crocodiles actually lose their teeth, a really awesome thing is that they actually have unlimited amount of teeth. You see, when one falls out, a new one is growing in their place. So a crocodile can go through actually 3,000 teeth in their lifetime, which is absolutely amazing. Now I'll take you guys a little bit further so you guys can see him from a different side of things. If you guys can see, this is where he is, and this is where we actually get in the water from this side to clean the tank, and there he is over there. Oh, that's a good one, Caroline. So Caroline just said, why is she looking at the window? Now, she can't actually stand straight over the top, over that rock. Be standing too close to Rocky. But what really awesome thing is that window reflects Rocky's head. So she can actually watch that window and see Rocky's reflection, so she doesn't actually have to step over. Now, what she's watching for is if Rocky moves, if he shows any signs that he's uncomfortable, or signs that he's had enough for the training, she can just let him out and he can go back in the water. Now, it's really important that we do give our animals the choice to do this or not, and the choice to participate. But the most awesome thing about Rocky is that he really, really loves it. So you can see Caroline just watching him. So you have another question. Where was it? What is Rocky's favorite food to eat? Oh, I already answered this one, but it's actually barramundi. So barramundi is his favorite. He does also eat tiny little bits of kangaroo, and on the odd, more special occasion, like a chicken. So I've got another question as well. Where was it? How long do they live for? From Grace, 10 years old. So Grace, that's a really great question as well. Crocodiles can actually live a really long time. So the average is about 80 years, but these guys can sometimes even go over 100. So Rocky is still got a long way to go in his life. So another question from Eli was, if you have any more Crocs, or is Rocky the only one? That is a really fantastic question as well. So Rocky is the only crocodile we do have here at Wildlife Sydney Zoo, and that is because being an adult male crocodile, they can actually be very territorial. Now, when crocodiles are out in the wild, they don't like any other crocodiles coming into their territory, and so they'll try to find a place where they can defend themselves. So Rocky, he was actually out in the wild, and he found his territory at a place in Rockhampton. Now, if you guys know Rockhampton in Australia, Rockhampton is a really popular tourist spot up in northern Queensland, and it's also known for its windsurfing. So, as you guys can probably guess, 4.2 meter saltwater crocodile with tourists and windsurfers is not a very good combination. And one day, Rocky got a little bit too close. He decided to bite the board of one of those windsurfers. So this became a safety issue for humans. And so what happened to Rocky then was he actually went up to a breeding facility, and they wanted to breed some beautiful blonde little crocodiles. Now, this breeding facility, they paired him with a gorgeous female, except Rocky, he didn't like that, and Rocky said no. Now, Rocky actually killed his female. So he showed us he didn't want to be bred, he didn't want to be around any other crocodiles. So Mr. Rocky here, he likes being on his own, and this is the way he likes it. So his beautiful enclosure here is all to himself. Now, I've got another great question. Why do they clean the water? That's a fantastic question. So cleaning the water means we need to make sure that we're providing the very best care possible. And that means we go underwater, get a little bit of a vacuum, and we can actually suck up any little wastes from Rocky, and we can make sure it's nice and clean. One more feed, let's do it. So you guys are gonna watch carefully. Caroline's gonna feed him another feed. There he goes. Awesome, guys. So if you guys didn't hear that, so that was a perfect training session. Rocky did absolutely amazing, and he's super happy to be up there. So Caroline's going to let those gates down, so Rocky has the choice to go back into the water or not, but we will wrap it up there. So I hope you guys enjoyed that awesome little live stream with one of my favorite animals at this zoo. So don't forget to check out our socials as well, as we have lots of awesome content coming up, and we have a few awesome things. So if you guys are being homeschooled at the moment, we actually have just launched our Merlin Education Toolbox. So if you guys would like any resources at all, definitely look that up, and that will be on our Facebook page. You guys can see that. Now, we also wanted to do a little bit of a shout out for some of our super fans who unfortunately missed out on an excursion coming to the zoo, and they are Lucas, Zane, and Rylan. We just wanted to say thank you so much for being such great fans of wildlife, and we're so excited to see you when the zoo reopens. So thank you so much, guys, and you want to say goodbye to the little lorikeet? Say bye. Bye, guys.